All right, so we are on chapters 5 and 6 of The Slight Edge. Thanks for being with us this morning. We were not sure who we were going to have on here. I'm surprised that I have Sherry on here, and I'm actually really surprised I'm seeing anybody on here. I thought I was going to be flying this mission solo this morning. So to have you all here and see your faces, it's just so super great. Pardon my ironing board behind me. It's a great decoration for, yes, I think the theme for my week. Do you ever write a post and then it becomes like your theme for the whole week? And my theme has been like wearing many hats. So that's just, it's comical to me that it's sitting there in my office. Anyway, it's all good. And I know it's actually, anyway. I think it's just so cool how things work and how our Plexus network just like creeps in everywhere. Chelsea is working with one of my level 1's daughters out at camp this summer. I think that's so fun. And I work with her dad often doing worship. So it is this wonderfully small world. Wonderfully small.
I literally lost my mind when she told me. She's like, because she said, "Oh, my mom works. She sells Plexus." I was like, "Your mom? Who's your mom?" And then she told me just now, and I actually can't say her last name.
Trashel. Yeah, I think it's Trashel. Yeah,
I have a hard time saying it. Anyways, and I was like, I think I have her as like a friend on Facebook, and I follow her on Instagram, and she's like on our team. She's like, "Yeah, do you know Janelle Phillips?" I'm like, "Yes."
There we go. There we go. That's so cool. When you sent that picture, I was like, that's awesome. I love it.
And so now I'm telling her she needs to also get in the business.
Yeah, super fun.
She's just like, I don't know, but we'll work on it also.
Yeah. Her mom is working on silver, so I'm very excited. That's so awesome. And yeah, okay, so we've got Slow Down to Go Fast is the title of our first chapter. And the quote is, Rome was not built in a day. Rome was not built in a day. And it comes to mind when you see this, when you're building a business and you have big goals, that you're like, but I don't want to slow down to go fast. I just want to do the work today and see the fruit of it tomorrow. Slowing down to go fast seems like it's going to take a very long time, but I don't know, how many cliches could we come up with? Good things come to those who wait. Like that one on there too, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. You've got the example of the Grand Canyon. You've got, even though I've got some questions on the 6 million years, we're not discussing creationism today. Anyway, Linda's giving me the side eye, but we get it, right? Like we get it. We understand the point that they're trying to make. The frog in the cream, all of those things. And Emily talked a lot. Man, this is just like a sub Emily call, isn't it, Sherry? Like we're just like Emily talked a lot at the beginning of the summer. Like I think her webinar was it at the beginning of June or the mid-June, where she did the big webinar, and she was talking about how she planned to work less but have more impact. And essentially it is that concept of slowing down to go fast, because you're doing the right actions over time that will compound and create large results. So consistently repeated daily actions plus time equals inconquerable results. Any thoughts on that? It's pretty cut and dry.
Another cliche is slow and steady wins the race.
Exactly.
But that's the turtle and the hare analogy.
Exactly. But here's the thing that occurred to me. Slow and steady wins the race. Let's use that, right? But what if the turtle had decided that he was going to deviate from the track, even though he was going slow and steady, still pretty much, headed in generally the same direction. He was going to go this way a little bit, but he was still going to be slow and steady. He would be slow and steady, but he wouldn't necessarily be ending up at the finish line. Right. And so this next part where it says, the trick is to choose the actions that, when multiplied by this universal amplifier, will yield the results you want, to position your everyday actions so time works for you and not against you. And so what this really brought to mind was some of those little hiccups that we can encounter along the way of the slow and steady race. Pitfalls or mindset issues or head trash or whatever you want to call it. Relationships that can turn from once being very positive into being really draining, right? If we think of the concept of the drain and the hose, right? In a relationship that can start out as being really positive, sideline, or just regular friendship outside of business can start as being really positive. All of a sudden, maybe somebody's or both of your mental the place that you are mentally kind of takes a bit of a dive, and all of a sudden what was super positive and life-giving becomes a pitfall. And then you end up going to that place and all you're doing is complaining, or you're not getting that uplifting feeling anymore, or whatever. And even though the concept is that you're supposed to be there for each other and supposed to be upholding each other, you're actually holding each other back. So we have to watch for that. Sherry, I'm handing the reins to you for 2 seconds. My vet is calling me. Hold on.
Sure thing. I guess when we talk about slow and steady, I also think of an airplane. And we have a goal in mind. And you're applying all the actions to go to the goal. But an air flight is actually off course the majority of the time and needs to continue making course corrections. And so that's what I think about when I do this. You supply the actions, the universe supplies the time, and choose the actions that last. So you do the work. It doesn't seem to be getting you there, but sometimes someone that's an observer, a supporter, a sideline, an upline, can be the person that says, oh, yeah, you're doing it all right. You've got the lift, you've got the energy, you've got the power, everything. We just need to make just a little pivot on the course correction, and you're going to get so much better results. There's just this one small detail. And I think that's where we often sort of go off on our own, and we know how to do this, and we'll just keep going. And the slight edge helps us say, oh, there's just this little wee adjustment, and we're on track again. It's all good. And then, there's a little bump and we go off a bit, and just a little adjustment gets us back. And being open to continuing doing the things that, even though they don't show that they're getting us the right place, are, and continue being open to those little adjustments.
That's brilliant, Sherry. That what you said had so much value in there, because we can negate other people's course corrections for us. And sometimes we aren't able to hear them, right? Sometimes we aren't, and it simply is the stage of growth that we're in, which is why personal growth and development, and again, an Emily reference, you can't read the label of the ketchup bottle from the inside. You need to have, whether it's your upline, or maybe it's a spouse, or maybe it is somebody else who is coaching you outside of your immediate circle. Why is it easier to listen to somebody who's almost a complete stranger than it is to listen to somebody who's closer to you? Why is that? Why are we like that? Right? Because surely the person who's close to us has no idea what they're talking about.
Well, I also think there's a bit of it's a bit of an oxymoron, actually, because sometimes the people closest to us want to help us feel safe and stay in our comfort zone. And so they're giving great suggestions from their perspective, but they're not actually pushing. And if we actually are honest with ourselves and really aware, we know we need the push. And so sometimes then it takes somebody that with a little bit more distance to say, I'm not attached to this relationship. I'm attached to providing you with the best ideas based on the amount of information you've told me, which is limited.
So we were watching 5 Levels of Leadership done by Brittany Howard and Christina Williams. And something that she said this week, sorry, I had to grab my pile of sticky notes because my desk got unearthed. I had to move my desk. So I had to find my pile of sticky notes, but I found them. And I think, Sherry, you're so right with that. The people that are around us, they want to be loving most of the time, want to be loving, want to support us. They don't necessarily want to call out that ugly in us that sometimes we need to. But there's this concept that I just loved that I think it was Christina said. It's not confrontation, it's a love conversation. And so as leaders, we have the gift of being able to have these difficult conversations with people. And I'm somebody who in the past really didn't like confrontation. I can't say that it's like my favorite thing to do now either. I want to say that I'm growing in it, but instead of looking at it for us as leaders and as we're growing in leadership as confrontation or conflict things, or, you know, these hard things that we need to talk to somebody about who maybe is kind of going off the path just a little bit, right? We want to keep them on, looking that as a love conversation and not confrontation. So I have it written down on my sticky note with confrontation with a line through it. And then underneath it, it says a love conversation. I think that's so, it's so on point. I love those 2 ladies. Oh, by the way, if you want to watch that, because I think it's just for the senior golds and above right now that we're doing it, it's on YouTube. So if you just go to Brittany Howard's YouTube channel, you can watch their team going through the 5 levels. I love watching other leaders do stuff like this. It's just so brilliant.
Could I make a quick little note? Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
It makes me think of a friendship that I currently have, where things were going really well for a long time, and then I started seeing some things that were kind of really questionable happening a little bit here and there. And then I saw some red flags, didn't really address them, but thought maybe I'll just kind of wait and watch to see more things unfold. And now my friend is in a full-blown cult, and I've realized now, only like almost 2 years later, that it's a cult, as opposed to like now she's really thick into it and very difficult to have a conversation with about it not being a good idea. But I should have seen the initial red flags and been like, hey, like, I know you're just learning about this thing and I'm kind of curious, you know, I'm kind of concerned. I should have voiced my concern initially and helped work through it before she was like 6 feet under in it. She was dipping her toes in it, and I should have been like, hey, what's going on? You know, I have some concerns. But I think out of fear for losing our friendship, I was just like, oh, maybe I'll just wait until I understand it better. But I should have. Now our friendship is not doing so good.
It can be fear, but it can also be like you want the best. You want to assume the best of people. You don't want to assume that she is going down this path. You want,
right, exactly.
Right? I mean, I'm really glad that you like to assume the best in people and the best in situations. That's a huge strength. So don't rain on yourself too hard. But yeah, that is so difficult, right? And that's one of the situations where that slight deviation became a very large deviation, right?
I know, but I could have also like assumed the best, but still could have clarified. Both would have been good.
Easy to see looking back.
Yeah.
And God uses everything as part of our story for growing us and is growing her too.
Right. We're learning as we're moving forward. We're failing our way forward. That was a fail. now we're moving forward, hopefully.
Yeah.
And continue.
Yes. There is no instant life. My goodness. Could we talk about that in the way of our world today, right? Like, I'm sorry, I totally fall victim to this. I will buy bedding plants. I live in Canada. I will not wait to grow all of my flowers from seed. I want to see what they look like now because it's only going to be like 60 days until they die. Like, I want to have more blooms for longer, right? And who really wants to plant petunia seeds? Linda, if you plant petunia seeds, my hat is off to you because them suckers are really tiny. Those are really hard to deal with. But we live in an instant gratification society. And guys, I can't remember which chapter we were in. Hold on, I don't want to skip too far. Hold on. Hang on. No, it is. Who cares? Does it really matter if we're skipping? The lottery thing blew my mind. The lottery thing where they said, now, please prove him wrong. Do you know anybody who has ever won the lottery? Okay. No, I don't know anybody who's ever won the lottery either. But it always shocks me that the people who typically win the lottery, they got the picture up, you're like, wow. And this is totally judgmental. I always say it really looks like they could use the money. They're not like, they look like regular, ordinary people that I would meet at my gas station. They do not look like the people who drive a Porsche and have 6 houses and right? Although you do hear the weird stories where somebody's won the lottery twice or 3 times, which is really funny. But what they said, obviously later on in chapter 6, not chapter 5, was that successful people don't win the lottery because why? They've realized that you don't play the lottery. Success doesn't come in a bolt of lightning. It comes by the slight edge and consistency over time. And I was like, that just really hit me, right? Because of course, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense that they're just regular, ordinary looking people that look like they could use the money. Not that, who couldn't find a way to spend, $2.7 million. Farmers Unite? Could we, yeah? Sure. Why not? We're not going to go there, right? Anyway, I love that he actually calls out and says the slight edge is boring. He's like, there, I said it. The slight edge is boring. Because it's not a super attractive thing. It's like, hey, friend, guess what? If you put in the same kind of work every day over 9 years, you're going to be successful.
The thing is, what you don't understand is you're successful every day you do the work because you're proving to yourself you do the work. That makes you successful every day. That's how Linda can add a new VIP on the first day of the month instead of at the last hour of the month because she does the work every day.
Every day. And it's so funny because I was thinking about this yesterday and I'm like, what is our definition of success?
Yeah.
What is our definition of success? And I really love the thought process of what can I do today to finish my day feeling successful? Can I teach you guys a hack? Maybe you know this. I just figured it out the other day and I'm like in love with this. So it's all about focus and keeping things in front of your face. Sherry, it's really hard to keep a Post-it note somewhere posted that I see it everywhere I turn. If I put it on my forehead, I still can't see it.
Can't see it inside the ketchup bottle.
Exactly. So look at what I figured out how to do. Hold on. It's a reminder on my phone. It's my reminder list, but it's pinned on the screen of my phone. I have another one pinned on the second screen of my phone. And the first one has my goals on it. It has 4 goals.
That's cool. I don't do that. That's
Do
very
you guys
cool.
want to learn how to do it? Because I just think that this is
Absolutely.
so smart.
Just a slight edge this morning.
Right? I saw it. Okay.
I'm
So
ready.
here's the thing. I saw it on Marja's phone. She's like, I cannot remember how I did it. But it's so brilliant. So I started to Google and I started to do, whatever. Guys, teenagers are actually helpful sometimes. I said to Lucas, I said, I can't figure this dang thing out. I need you to tell me how. He goes, oh, it's super easy. Okay. Are you guys, if this is the reminder app that is on your phone, it comes on your phone. Hold your finger down on your screen. You guys, like, seriously, you'll be like,
On the reminder app or anywhere?
no, hold your finger down so everything starts to wiggle.
Because I need details. I need all the pieces. Okay,
Yeah.
next.
Up at the top left-hand corner, there's a plus button. Click the plus button. Search
the
widgets. Search
Okay.
for reminders.
Okay.
Pull up the reminder app. You'll have the opportunity to add a list from there. You might have to go back in and make a list first, but this is what you're going to see when it pops up when you have a list. You're going to have the option to have a tiny one. Oh, hold on. I just added the tiny one. Hold on. You
Or
can
a
have a
wide
tiny
one.
or a
Or a big
short
one.
and wide one, or a very large one. And then you can actually change that list. So you can have multiple lists on multiple pages of your phone screen. And then you just click add widget.
But so you can have it at the top or the bottom or wherever you want on your screen.
You can put it wherever you want.
So what are some of your goals that you have written down, or is that too personal?
You know what? They're actually really, really simple. It's how I want to see myself in my business. And right now it is a professional, organized owner. It's a reminder to pay myself first, and then points over a certain number. And then my other focus is growing leaders. So that's the 4 things that I have on my one reminder. And then I can just, and yeah, and actually it's entitled The Best News Ever. Emily would be so proud. It's the best news ever. So
I
anyway,
get to.
yeah. So, and it's got the little title at the bottom. See, it says The Best News Ever. And it's my 4th list or whatever. Anyway, and you get to choose your colors and you can put things in. And then the next one is like clean my master bathroom. So that's just another thing. And then when you check them off, they disappear. Because you set it up as a list, or you can set it up as something different too. But anyway, I hope that little piece of knowledge, and I just thought that was so cool. And then, yeah, you can move it around on your screen wherever you want it, except it moved all my apps around and now I can't find anything. But
I know it's moving my apps around. So I need to do a little work with that.
a little fine tuning, but it's kind of neat because then you can keep the things right in front of you. Because how many times do we open our phones? And you can actually, I think you can put it on your lock screen too. There's a way to put a reminder on your lock screen. So yeah. Isn't this cool? It's like virtual sticky notes. Sherry?
I think I could like this.
Right? So it's all about doing those little things. And how do we do the little things? But we do the little things by keeping them right in front of our faces. So anyway, going back to the whole what makes us successful, I started thinking about that. And I was like, why would somebody, and I like asking backwards questions. Why would somebody see me as successful? Well, they don't know how much money I have in my bank account. So that's really a moot point. So, for Linda, they look at Linda and say, Linda is successful because she has beautiful grandkids that she has over at her house all the time, right? They must have a great relationship. So therefore, she must be an amazing grandma to these kids. And she must be a great mom because her kids want their kids around her often. Right? So that's a piece of why we're successful. What are the markers of success? And I think oftentimes we negate the loud markers or the huge signs of our success because we haven't met these moving targets that we put on for ourselves, right? Are you ever going to get there? Well, I don't know. Do you feel successful today in what you're doing? If it's no, then like you shared the other day, Sherry, if you don't feel, if gold is the next step in the rank ladder, if gold is the next step and you won't be satisfied with gold, you won't be satisfied with emerald or diamond either. It's doing those small things every day and believing you're going to get to where you're going, because you're just building on the success you already have, and you are already successful. Linda, do you believe you're already successful? You are so sweet that because you just let me pick on you all the time. Just a little bit.
She was our fashion guru at conference. She had the cutest outfits.
She did have the cutest outfits.
Cutest outfits. Love them.
That's fantastic. I loved going to convention with all of you. And Chelsea was just making friends left, right, and center. And it's just amazing. So in saying the slight edge is really easy to do, it is really simple. It's just as easy not to do. And you know what? It can really get us in the summer, especially. It's nice outside. There are people mulling about. People aren't shut up in their homes because it's not 40 below. Like, there are places to go, people to see, things to do. It's just as easy to not do the things. It's just as easy to not show up for work and worship at 9 a.m. as it is to show up for work and worship at 9:10 because you haven't quite, right? Eva said the other day, she said, there's no such thing as late for work and worship unless you're the one playing the music. So just FYI, if y'all are thinking you can't come because it's like 10 after 9 and it started, it's okay. We still open the doors. All right. Okay, another thing, sorry, we're 9:30, so I'm at page 72. They said only 1 out of 20 people ever achieve their goals. 1 out of 20.
And that's a reflection on, are your goals written down? Do you have your goals written down in detail? I mean, we know there's research on university students, and those that wrote down the goals became the top 3% as time went on.
Yeah. It also reminds me of that, and this has stuck with me for forever. Only 5% of people do anything for personal growth. 5%. Like, that is such a small number. Such a small number.
I kind of like under the essential points for chapter 5, because I'm just moving along.
No, go ahead.
Where it says difficult takes a little time, impossible takes just a little longer. And you know, there's people that only start something if they can see that it's going to be easy. There's people that are willing to start something if, well, I've got help, so I could make this work if it's a little harder. There's people that are willing to work through a strategy or whatever and work through difficult, whether they see it as a 4-year degree or whatever they see it as. But there's not many people that are willing to tackle impossible.
And impossible is so objective.
It just takes a little longer.
Totally. And you're not jumping ahead because I was already in chapter 6. I was in chapter 6 before. No, absolutely. And the idea, like viewing your actions through the eyes of time. So yeah, I'm finding so much value in the essential points at the ends, just to sort of wrap it up, to be like, if you didn't get here, here are the things that you should be remembering. All right, so chapter 6, don't fall for the quantum leap. I thought that this piece was really interesting when he talked about the People's Network. To my dismay, I saw many people strive for the quantum leap results they were taught as achievable over the next 1 to 3 months with little to no results. They too got dismayed. More regrettably, I witnessed many of these people not just losing their belief in being able to seek a change in their lives, but actually regressing to an earlier state in which they simply didn't want to make any changes. It was then I realized that instead of teaching a quantum leap philosophy, we needed a philosophy that provided help over the interim period before they achieved their goals. And then he calls The Slight Edge the anti-quantum leap book.
I think that's all about expectations, because I
Absolutely.
remember TPN. I remember how they presented everything. That very, very fast result concept. And I really do think that for many people, it's like, well, you get your degree in 3 months instead of 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I didn't get my degree in 3 months. Therefore, I'm not good enough because you said I could. I'm the problem because other people did this. And therefore, there's no point in me putting in any work because it's never going to happen. It's a really challenging thing in that we all go at different speeds. And yes, there probably is someone that accomplished that degree in 3 months. They also probably worked longer and started from a different place than you're starting from. And maybe they were willing to accept more assistance. Maybe they were willing to do more hard things.
Maybe they had a parent that made them read 10 pages a day of a good book from the time they were 6.
Yep.
Like they suggested in the book.
Yep, exactly. So it is really interesting how we allow expectations of ourselves and of others to limit how we can perceive and do things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. The whole concept of someday my prince will come, someday when my ship comes in, someday when I have the money, someday when I have the time. So I'm going to tell I'll try to make it really fast. Where he goes with this is some more shocking news. Your ship's not coming. It's already here. So I want to just focus on the someday I will have the money. And I know Chelsea is super good with this. And I had the opportunity to take on a pretty in-depth coaching program. It was going to cost a ridiculous amount of money. And well, from what my perspective was, it was far more than I'd ever paid on anything before. And I had known about this coaching for a long time. I had seen it and I was very resistant to it. And on the spiritual side, I thought that it was a discernment piece. I was like resisting it for 2 years, even though I saw friends go through it and they were having great success. I was just like, there is something in my soul that is saying that this is not for me. Now, very well, it may not have been for me until now, and that could be the piece. But I had another friend that decided to jump and I was like, oh, for Pete's sake. I think I threw my hands up and I was like, oh, for Pete's sake, what is going on? Like, do I need to look at this? And I felt a prompting in my spirit saying, is this discernment? Or are you not healthy enough to make this discerning call right now? Do you need to ask for some help? And so I did. I asked for a couple of people to pray. I talked to my pastor. I talked to Nolan about it. Nolan was on board 1,000%. He knew how much money it was going to cost. He was like, I don't know where it's going to come from. He's like, I don't even know if we can do it, but I think you need to do it. So I just started praying. I was like, God, if this is your will for us, could you just make a way? Like make the finances appear. And that's literally what I said. Make them appear. Because like they're not here. I do not have an extra over $3,000 sitting around. I don't. And kept praying about it. Nolan did some financial magic and moved things. And so we're like, oh, okay, look at that. You know, maybe that was it, right? I signed up right away. Spiritual attacks started coming. I had a migraine the morning that I said yes. And it lasted all day. And the gal that's doing the coaching said, that's really normal. Physical affliction, very normal. And so then we just kept going. And it was incredible to me how after I had said yes, and by the way, turned out that the spiritual discernment, after I had people pray about it and I was praying about it, God really made it evident to me that it was myself putting on the brakes for me and putting up that wall in the stead of the spiritual discernment. So going forward, haven't started the coaching. This is a Christian coaching and business and life and all the things. And I hadn't started it, hadn't read anything, hadn't even finished printing it off because I couldn't figure out how to print it in color. Sherry, if you have a thought, I can't get it to print in color. Driving me crazy. Anyhow, God starts opening doors for me to talk to people. And the wisdom that is coming out of my mouth, it is not me, because is not from my brain. And the things that are coming out and the opportunities that I'm having to speak to people about certain issues had like, it was crazy. During the time that we were at convention, I'm like, God, this is so cool. Like you are opening doors for me. This is so neat, right? So we get home, and I haven't even told Sherry this. We get home and I sit down with my parents. My parents have gone to a funeral. My step grandma, who I did not know terribly well, passed away months ago. And they were having her memorial service. I missed it on Saturday and I was choked to not be there, but I wasn't really close with the family. Sit down talking to my dad. He hands me a check. This lady was very wealthy, left a copious amount of money to her church. My dad, who is the only stepson, got an inheritance equal to all of the full children, which they were all surprised. And the grandkids got an inheritance as well. And my check for me and my family was twice the amount of my coaching. And I had no idea it was coming. And we just kept praying that God would make it appear, and it appeared. And the cool piece to this also is that when you look at an inheritance, it's legacy, right? It's not meant to, I mean, I think that the purpose of the money is supposed to further you with your family, right? Is to further live the legacy of the person who's passed. But to me, it is such an affirmation that what we are doing is legacy work. So if you hit the someday when I have the money, or a someday when, and you haven't fully surrendered it to the Lord, you might wanna. That's all. Affirmation comes in really cool ways. So, yeah. We may even use it to incorporate, which to me just like amplifies the legacy piece too. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys because it's a really neat story. So shocking news is your ship's not coming. It's already here, docked and waiting. You already have the money. It just depends on where it's sitting. It might still be sitting in the heavenly realm and it's not hit your bank account yet. You already have the skill, the confidence. You already have everything you need to achieve everything you want. You just can't see it because you're looking in the wrong place. You're looking for the breakthrough. And some days it is hard to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, I have exactly what it takes to do the things that I have to do, to lead the team that I need to lead. You just haven't pulled it out yet. Again, you can't read the label of the bottle from the inside. Sometimes you need tools or people or whatever to help you bring it around. I did really love, and I already said it, but at the bottom of page 88, it just really gave me a minute to think about it. Can you imagine if every first grader was required to start reading 10 pages of a good book a day? How would their finances, their health, their relationships change as adults if that was where we started? Really reminds me that I want to get my kids reading soundtracks. Sherry, what was that book? What's the Maxwell book that you had said is written for kids?
Sometimes we win, sometimes we fail.
And it's a kid's
Sometimes we
book.
fail, sometimes we win. Yeah, there's a kid's version. Yeah.
I need to find that.
Yeah.
Linda, that would be a really cool stocking stuffer for the grandkids. Just saying.
I'm actually reading a really cool one now called The Energy Bus.
Are you reading that one now? She's reading ahead. And how is that going? Tell
It's
us,
John
'cause
Ford.
we're gonna read it
It's
together.
So interesting. Mhm.
Tell us more. The Energy
Mm.
Bus.
Just so interesting. No, we have to get back to the slight edge.
We're almost done the slide edge. I think it's really interesting though, because I think we've all experienced the slide edge over time. Like, I can look at all of you guys that are here and the people that are watching the recording, they're like, yeah, there's other people with their pictures just on and you can't see them on the recording. I think we've probably all had people that have come to us in this chapter of our lives and they haven't been present for the last however many, you haven't seen them in however long. And they're like, wow, you look so great. You're so healthy. You're doing so well. You know, they've missed chapters 1 through 17 and shown up for chapter 18. And they're like, oh, you're so lucky. Wah, wah.
Yeah, we've heard that.
Really? All right. What they had a hard time seeing is that my good health isn't an accident and their poor health isn't a stroke of bad luck. They don't see that we all beach bums and millionaires alike have gotten to where we are today the exact same way, the slight edge. They are victims of the quantum leap myth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like the stupid allergic reactions that I'm having from walnuts will not stop if I keep eating walnuts.
Correct.
But it'll get way better if I stop eating walnuts, one little no at a time. We're waiting. There was walnuts on top of something yesterday. We're in the waiting. Yesterday. There was walnuts on the top of something yesterday, and it's one of my favorite somethings. And I'm like, but surely it's just ground up inside some of the other topping on the dessert and it'll be fine. And so I took some ease. But so that was not a positive slight edge decision. Going away from it, right?
So perhaps a pivot is in order.
A mindset shift is, it doesn't matter if the ice cream dessert is an annual do. It's going to be an annual do not with the walnuts.
You know what? I think if I recall, I did a video way back in Grow on how to shift your mindset about walnuts. And you will never, I think I was using chocolate. You will never eat walnuts again.
I remember it because there was an outcry. There was an outcry. I just am going to get my auntie to not put walnuts into it and I'm just going to eat it and we can use pecans instead. How's that?
And that'll work just fine for that dessert. But for
And
your
I'm not
next,
going to watch the video because
for
I
your
remember
next walnut decision,
it.
just imagine
Yuri.
those walnuts.
Now you have to find it and you need to drop it into this. Linda, you're nodding emphatically. You now the curiosity has piqued you.
Oh, I think Linda remembers it. No?
She doesn't remember it. You need to stick it into the silver chat just because it's probably
Oh,
like
it's
our
you
top
only
3 Sherry videos.
you only watch it if you really want to shift your mindset. You do not watch it if you don't.
You can put a disclaimer in there. They're big people. They can choose to click it or not.
But just think of those walnuts, Janelle.
Stop it.
You can see them.
I can see them. Actually, this goes really well with what you're just saying. Quantum leaps do happen, but only at the end result of a lengthy, gradual buildup of consistently applied effort. So I need to consistently apply the effort to avoid the walnuts. There are walnuts
can have
everywhere, people.
you can have a quantum leap on walnuts, because now you've done all the work to have the quantum leap.
Oh, you do need to share that video. That video may actually end up having to be like put onto YouTube or something like that, because oh, goodness sakes.
It's good and it works.
Success is immediate. No collapse is sudden. They're both the result of the slight edge, accruing momentum over time. Yeah. And you know what? The whole concept of the big break, I mean, it really does hit home for me, because the years that I spent auditioning and performing and all those things, you are waiting for your big break. But the big break is never just it is the culmination of the hours of rehearsal and the prep and the blood, sweat, and tears is the big break, right? It's just like somebody going diamond, right? And I will never forget Marge going diamond. And I bawled like a baby. And it wasn't because it was like, well, finally it's here. It's so exciting. It just happened, right? Why was I so emotional? Well, I was so emotional because I got to be there for a lot of the other steps.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful piece about working beside people or alongside with others, is that the joy is so much. I think the joy is for all of us, right? Like, I'm sorry, Linda, but I took a lot of joy in you having your first ambassador yesterday, or your first VIP yesterday. I took a lot of joy in that. Did I do any work on that? No. I did not put in Linda's work. No. But because you share yourself with us here and you show up, the joy is multiplied to other people, right? Did you know that, Linda, did you know that showing up every day to do your work that you do, sitting in your chair, you're on your couch right there by yourself, did you know that that brings exponential joy to the people that are around you? Like, have you ever thought about it that way? It does, because it did yesterday.
It was brilliant yesterday. Linda's sense of timing, it was brilliant. The conversation that she had with this lady, it was beautiful.
It was so funny because I had my cell phone here with Sherry, my landline here with the lady, and trying to get it worked out. There was a couple glitches, and yeah, but it worked out thanks to Sherry again.
But the thing is, it's not just thanks to Sherry. It's the three-way conversation that you started, Linda, so that she knew who Sherry was.
Yeah.
It's the conversation that continued where we encouraged her to go ahead. It's the response she had because she had a relationship with you where she said, this is too hard for me. Maybe I can't do this. It's the conversation where you cared and said, give me your phone number. I'll call you. It's the willingness you had to find solutions when she was having issues. And the willingness that you had to say to her, are you okay with giving us your login? Are you okay with us doing this? Are you okay with it? Like, it's the willingness to go beyond rather than just saying, oh, if you can't do it today, you'll be able to do it on the weekend. Bye now.
And I felt like crap. I've got a head cold. My traveling has caught up to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And we do the things no matter whether it's easy or not. That's the slight edge. It was a perfect example of the slight edge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The slight edge with skin on it. That's so awesome. All right. So we are now at the secret of happiness. Aren't you excited to read about the secret of happiness? Awesome. The Secret of Happiness, and then we have The Ripple Effect. So that's chapters 7 and 8 for next Saturday. Just a reminder, Sherry, I don't have my book. Oh, I do. If you're interested in Emily's book club, Why She Buys, I don't think that we're doing the Zoom until August, so that's happening then. Also, Sherry, do you have your Go for No sitting beside you there? Maybe not. There's a newer version of Go for No on Amazon. It's a very small book, hence why Sherry can't find it. Oh. Is that it? Okay, you're muted. I can't hear you. Unmute. There you go.
I just grabbed another Go for No, and it's not the one we're doing. So where is it?
It's got a guy in a shadow.
Yeah.
Mine yet.
It-
If somebody hadn't moved all my apps around, I'd be able to find Amazon way faster.
We actually should try to get a picture of it and the information into the Leader Lounge.
Yes, we should.
I got that.
What? Do you want to do that?
I heard, yes, you should.
No, I said, yes, we should. I said, we. I did not say you. You're funny. Oh, it must be in a different cart.
I don't know where I said it.
Go for no. Whoopsies. There we go. It's a really fast read. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, that's the one.
And we are just going to do a really quick 2-week roundup with this, with some actionable items, mid-August, the last 2 weeks in August. And then we will be starting on our next book. Which one are we doing next? Is it the Energy Bus that we're doing next? I don't, now that I've moved all the stuff off my desk, I don't have my papers.
Yeah, I think it's the Energy Bus. We should make a post on this.
Maybe I only did it in my brain. Oh dear.
Let's get it out of your brain.
Yeah, let's get it out of my brain and onto paper. Well, that probably won't happen today. Well, it might happen tonight. Anyhow, I hope that this has been an eye-opening session today. And I think that the biggest takeaway is, in order to achieve the slight edge and the course corrections that Sherry was talking about, it is so important to remain coachable and to remain open to those who can positively affect our journey. We can have relationships with people for so many different reasons. Sideline relationships can be super, super great. They can also be the slight edge the wrong way. And so I just wanted to leave that with you guys, in that always, I don't want to say always question everything, but it's never a bad thing to be taking the temperature of where you are and whether it's a healthy place or not, because you can be hitting your head against a wall saying, I've been doing the same slight edge stuff for years and I'm still nowhere near where I want to be. And when people say that, it makes me think that maybe it is just simply that you need to give it more time and it will continue to happen. Or or maybe you've deviated just a little bit from doing the right slight edge things, or you're just missing a tiny piece. Like Sherry was saying, it might just be a little tweak, just a little tiny tweak that you need. Again, not knocking down the whole house, just like maybe filling in a nail hole or like tightening a screw or something like that. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you for joining us, even on a holiday. And yeah, we will see you. Join us for work and worship every morning. I'm going to try. I'm out at camp this next week. But yeah, it'll be good. We'll be around and we'll be slight edging it together. All right, guys. See you later. Bye.